Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna get the agenda pulled up. On the packet.
Oh, I know we had that much stuff to do. I don't know, but will you write?
Yep.
Will you write?
Oh, in case anybody else needs one. Alex didn't get one. I don't know.
So, do you want one?
What you got?
Blank piece of paper, whatever the attorney would like.
No
Yeah,
signatures.
there's so much room for activities.
Welcome
All
back.
right,
Welcome
it is 4:02. Are we streaming, Mike?
We are.
Okay, it is 4:02, and we will call this meeting of the Bristol Town Council special meeting to order. Today is Monday, July 8th at 4:02 PM. And we will do roll call. So I'll start to my left. Doug Smith. Here. Dean Renfro. Here. Kathy Burke.
Here.
Rick Dolsky.
Here.
Jeff Beechey's here. Legal counsel Alex Bowman. Here. Clerk treasurer Kathy Antonelli.
Here.
Town manager Mike Yoder.
Present.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
Looks
Okay.
good.
Any changes, additions, or corrections?
No.
Nope.
Okay, if not, the agenda will stand as published, so we'll start off right away. First item on the agenda, open bids for the CCMG 2024 Call One project. So Kathy, you want to do the honors?
We had 3 bids presented today, one from Niblock Excavating, one from C&E Excavating,
Reese Riley.
and the third from Wraith Riley. I was giving them time to write.
Oh, okay. I thought you were looking at it. It's right there.
I was giving them time to write.
Sorry.
I appreciate you. Nice. All right, the first one is Niblock Excavating. Thank you, Chad, for the tab. Grand total base bid, $639,627. Next is C&E Excavating. Grand total base bid, $910,382.40. And the third being Wraith Riley. Jeopardy music, please. Grand total base bid, $855,464.86.
Kathy?
Now, this is the Elkhart St. Joe, right?
Yes. Mhm. So we'll have a JPR review and bring back the recommendation before the end of the meeting.
We need to make a motion to accept the bids and pass on to JPR for a review.
I make a motion, we accept the bids, pass on to JPR to approve them.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Dean, second by Kathy, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro.
Yes.
Kathy Burke.
Yes.
Rick Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes. Motion carries. Okay.
Okay, salary ordinance amendment.
Okay.
So a couple things on here, primarily is the new officer. Why don't you talk a bit about that? Did you want to wait a second?
No, I don't see approval of invoices on our agenda, and we need to do that. Yep, you bet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So if we can insert after, for now, approval of the invoices. that
Yes.
Jill sent out. That way we can keep moving on paying bills.
Yes,
Supposed to add it. Yes.
so add that,
Details.
where you wanna add that? Under town manager or,
That's fine.
Sure.
okay, we'll make it K. Approval of invoices.
He's got punched, hasn't he?
Okay. Jeff, hyper technically speaking, you want to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda.
Second,
okay, motion by Kathy, second by Dean, open for discussion. No further discussion, please vote, Doug Smith.
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
yes.
Kathy Burke.
Yeah.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
Jen Beach is a yes, motion carries. Okay,
Now, let's talk about the new office.
yeah. Okay, so, last Friday, last
When was it?
Tuesday. Last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Before the fourth, yeah. So Dean and I met with Lieutenant Lundgren and Corporal Hamud. And also with Riley Arvanitis. And had an interview with him and had a really good discussion, about an hour long. And we were pretty impressed with him. Mr. Arvanitis is currently not employed as a police officer. He resigned from Elkhart at the beginning of January of this year. And he's been living with he's been living in Sherrville, where he's originally from. And I think I sent this out in an email or a text. That he seems like a really good candidate and one that I think we would, and I'll let Dean speak too, but one that I think we would do good by hiring as another officer. So
He had a lot of qualifications. What was the one?
DRE,
The drug thing,
yeah,
yeah.
drug recognition expert.
And FTO, he's
Yep.
already got that training, so I mean, and the kid seemed really, really genuine about, he loves the job, he wants to do the job.
Yeah.
And he just thought Bristol would be a great fit for him because he learned a little bit at Elkhart that he didn't care for, so he seemed like a real good kid. I mean, he's a lot of, there was some job hopping, but he kind of had good explanations why each one happened. And I thought he was excellent candidate, really.
Yeah.
I think he fit right in, so did Kyle and Dustin both.
Yeah.
Had high regards for him also. They asked a lot of questions of him. He was able to answer them all and did a great interview, and I think he's a great candidate.
I agree. And I think to your point about, he's very passionate about being a police officer. He put himself through the academy.
Yeah.
He paid for himself with the help of his parents. And then he got hired on at Winona Lake in Warsaw. So,
His dad was an officer at Sherrville, so for a time he was with his dad, and then
Yeah.
somebody's mom was on the board. or
yeah, his
something.
mom was on,
I think there
mom
was
was on,
something there that made him wanna, it wasn't working out very well or something.
yeah, his mom was on council, his dad was on the police department, and there were just a lot of politics involved, so.
He
decided
decided
to-
to be very discreet, he said, politics and
Yeah, he said there's politics involved, so he decided to leave Sherrville, and that's why he came to Elkhart, so. But I think we do right by hiring him.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, we talked at the last meeting about, whether we should hire anybody before we got a marshal or would be after we got a marshal. I thought we all talked about it would be after the marshal. Are you guys anticipating changing that now? I'm just wondering.
No, actually, last meeting we talked about, we did discuss that, but we decided to go forward with the interview. And if the interview went well, we would hire him before the
Okay.
marshal.
All right.
Because he was
Because-
looking at other
Yeah,
departments.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, you didn't say that he was looking at other departments.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, Kathy,
I knew there was one.
Well, the other two are the ones who were waiting till the marshal decision's been made.
Yeah,
This one was the one that was immediate action. The
Yeah.
other two were the
See,
ones.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, everything else we want.
Nobody mentioned this was the guy.
Yeah, this is the one, this was when we talked last time that he was being courted by 3 agencies
Okay.
over in the sheriff.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. thank
Yeah.
you.
And then what we had discussed was bringing him in at the same, salary as Jake Laskowski. Jake has 2 years on with us, and Arvanitis has 5 years on. But the discussion, if y'all remember, we talked about the possibility of a pay scale, what it was.
The
The
matrix.
matrix, thank you.
And
The pay matrix that Adam presented to us. And in that scenario, a lateral transfer would receive half the credits for their years of service. So in Riley's case, Riley Urbanites, he has 5 years on, so he gets 2.5 years credit. And then the way the matrix works is you go down to the first whole year. So if he's got 2.5 years, he goes down to 2 years, which is right where Leskowski is. So that's why we recommended putting him at the same salary.
Have we accepted that matrix? Is that what we're gonna work?
No,
with?
we have not. We
Okay,
have not. That's
just
still
something
in the works.
Budget times.
I just wanted to check.
Yeah, no, we've not adopted that yet, but it sounds like council's in favor of that. We just need to figure out the details and make the matrix our own.
Is
So-
Riley looking to relocate?
Oh, yeah,
I told him his partner right next door.
actually, what,
I don't know.
He
if
said
they
there's
wanna
a-
live there.
he said there's an apartment right next door. I said, hey, we can get you in the golf view,
Yeah.
and then you could just work from home.
So we got a whole kind of-
Not that he wouldn't be busy.
Right.
That's what Kyle said, he'd be busy all the time.
So, moving on. Yeah.
Kept moving.
So, yeah, I think it would behoove us to extend him an offer, so.
You want a motion on that?
Yes.
I make a motion that we extend an offer to Riley
Arvanitis,
Arvanitis
yes.
as an addition to our police department.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Kathy, second by Doug, open for discussion. No further discussion, like a vote, Dr. Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
Jeff Beat is a yes, motion carries. Okay,
The other slight changes, and I alerted, we didn't add a position, but I split the positions in the street department, summer help part-time. So I could have 2 different pay scales to bring somebody in at. But we had somebody at the $21 per hour, but then he backed out, so we're back to nobody to replace our summer help, and he goes back to college right now, so. Good news is John Rice is back
Oh, he is?
today.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, he got
Got the
cleared by
okay.
his doctor and his wife.
I was gonna say Debbie controlled more than the
I
doctor.
think Debbie had restrictions, but the doctor didn't. So, okay, we're glad to have him back. Next up, I shared with you briefly the watershed study and the reason for that watershed study. Primarily, it's all the new development happening south of town. We need to figure out what we're doing with water coming out of the Bristol Hills and the additional stormwater drainage we have with the new development. So 6 months ago, I asked the county drainage board if they would like to participate 50-50, do a cost share study. They're still thinking about that. They're not real pleased about doing that. I'd have to go to I was scheduled to go to the surveyor for the drainage board next month. But with the announcement of a 240-acre purchase from the Brown Farm or Wilhelm Sisters, I think we need to move faster. So I'm suggesting that we go ahead with the study, pay for it with stormwater monies. We have those monies budgeted already. And then once the study is done, what the drainage board or surveyor's office is suggesting is we may end up with a 2-stage ditch or another ditch that dumps into the St. Joe River. So I think that's where we're going. And at that point, we'll ask the county to participate in the construction of that.
Now,
Because
would
we'll be
they
taking part.
hook on the Mingus ditch to go?
No, the other ditch, it's not Menges, it's one that's closer to the County Road 19.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember. the name
Yeah,
of it
I
now,
just had it in my mind, but
but it's still going to St. Joe that way. Not
Yeah, the
here.
problem is that that outlet into St. Joe's not large enough to take all this extra.
Even though they put that new 4-footer in there,
Yeah, so we're thinking the study's gonna show it's not large enough, so they're thinking about a whole new outlet. Which pushes us to a two-stage ditch, which allows all that to stay the same, and it's like a large retention pond. That we just store the water, and then it's slowly released into the Menges system, or that system. So I think that's what the plan is going to show, and we've got the acreage down there to do it, I think, but
now, did you just say that was sold?
subject to rezoning,
248 acres.
and you guys will have that rezoning, so. That'll be first Thursday in August, most likely.
That's real quick.
Yep, they're moving quick. They're working on,
Is the one you were talking about?
yeah, so the neighbors, I thought were gonna be notified this week, they'll be notified next week. And they're planning a neighborhood meeting either at the library or the church or here. Probably the week of the 15th. Okay, so my recommendation is we go ahead and do that. Questions?
Oh, I thought you were done. We didn't do the salary
Back.
ordinance, we never adopted.
We don't adopt it.
Well, you guys didn't vote it?
Those
They
sending
don't
off
like
for
the
the police
idea,
officer.
but
Oh, good point. Thanks, Brent. Okay, back to salary ordinance.
It's Monday, Mike. We understand.
I know
Moving
that
right along.
you guys don't hire officers, but I guess you did this time, so, yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
Is there a motion to adopt the amended salary ordinance 7-8 2024-17?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Dean,
I'll second.
Very well.
second by Doug.
Now I know why. you
Go
said
ahead. We'll do this in two stages. I think the way you've phrased it is good for the first stage. So we're gonna take the vote, and then the next motion will be to enact the ordinance as amended on first reading.
Okay,
Okay, so my motion's okay?
Yes.
okay, we'll take a vote then. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky,
Yes,
and Jeff Beach is yes. Now, is there a motion to adopt the new salary ordinance on first reading?
I'd say enact.
Enact salary ordinance on
I'll
first
make the
reading.
motion to enact the new salary ordinance on first reading.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Kathy, second by Dean, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro.
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes, motion carries. Man, look at you jumping right back in.
I had to try to really keep, you know.
Well, I thought Bill was like, and then I started thinking, I'm like, oh.
She put that in front of me, I thought, I was signing it. Are we ready to go back to hyperdrive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hyperdrive.
So now, the stormwater management study, or stormwater watershed study.
Didn't we already?
What
do
about
that?
it?
you did that.
Thought we already
Please,
did that.
you didn't vote on
We
it?
didn't vote on it.
Oh, we just
Are
had
you
the
done?
motions. Okay,
Are you done?
that's right. We got the reins pulled back before we voted.
We didn't, no, we didn't make a motion, did we?
No,
No.
we
No,
didn't.
no.
I didn't know if he was done yet.
Yeah, I am done.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to move forward with the watershed study for $44,000 utilizing MS4 funding?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Greg,
I'll second.
second by Doug, open for discussion. No further discussion, take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro.
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is a yes, motion carries.
Thank you. The next is, I requested a quote from Baker Tilly on doing a taxpayer impact study, on creating a fire district, which seemed to be our only option after our meeting. So it's up to you if you want to take this next step. This is not adopting a fire district, but it's determining what the impact will be on tax bills and opportunity to ask additional questions on what that means in the process. So it will not exceed $3,500. I suspect it'll be quite a bit less because they have all the data.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the fire district study by Baker Tilly, not to exceed $3,500.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Jeff, second by Kathy, open for discussion. No further discussion, take a vote. Dr. Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey is yes.
Okay,
Motion
thank you.
carries.
Next, we have a couple, pay applications for our summer projects, which are moving right along. First one is, 2023 one. This is the Maple Street project for $347.76. $347,000.
Thank you. It's.
It's a mod change.
Okay,
He's in hyperdrive.
is there a motion for pay application number 3?
I'd make a motion for $347.
Yeah,
I like Kathy's numbers better.
yeah.
Good thing Chad left.
But I'll make a motion for pay application number 3, CCMG 2023-1 for $347,076.90.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I will second.
second by Doug, open for discussion. No further discussion, let go. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro.
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yeah,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey is yes, motion carries.
Okay, same request for 2023-2. Different amount,
Okay,
that's for 500
is there a motion?
170. Man, I gotta put my glasses on.
just said 500.
I did, $174. Sorry.
And this is for Indiana, right? School.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of the project, it's first pay app for
Yeah.
them.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Motion by Dean,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
Okay, then there's a bunch of contract documents with the water main project, Main Street. Jim is here, if you have questions about that, or she wants to explain.
Well, this is real quick. So this is a late addition because of the special council meeting. I want to proceed with contract A. Contract B will be the next council meeting. So today I'm presenting the notice of award for signature, the signed agreement with Nibok signature. Alex has already looked over the bonds and insurance part of it. And notice to proceed for next Monday. So we have these for your signature if you'd like this copy. If you do not already have a copy, I apologize. Okay, good. You guys have a copy. Such a late
Yeah,
edition.
it's up at the top.
Yeah, $5,987,307.
There it is.
Remind us again, Jenny, which one is this?
So the contract A is all of the linear work as well as the new well and the new chemical building at the well field.
Okay,
So everything except for the water tower itself.
okay,
So that's the linear work out to Commerce Drive, and that's the work on, is it Fox Chase?
Chase.
Across to County Road 8 and Vista.
okay.
Is this the one that's in the big package?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
it's inside that pack. This isn't an
Yes.
addition. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Okay. So is there a motion to award contract A?
I'll make a motion, we award contract A for the Main Street.
We're calling the linear and just water equipment. We're calling contract A for water.
Contract A for water.
Motion by Dean,
I will second.
second by Doug, open for discussion. And as soon as we sign this, they get started, right?
Correct. Yep. So one of the papers to sign today is notice to proceed, which will be next Monday, unless you guys would like to get started earlier, but
No.
Monday's usually good.
Not before homecoming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start Friday. Oh, no.
We're not breaking ground quite yet. So we still have to go through the submittal process and obviously shut down things. Give us another month to start.
Okay, thank you. And further discussion? Not take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro.
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes. Motion carries.
Okay, were there two papers, just the contract A, or notice to proceed was a separate?
I have a notice to award and then the contract A.
And then in addition, a notice to proceed. So,
Yeah.
I don't have that.
For both of them.
Okay, thank you, man.
All three?
You know, that's, Greg, there's one more for Jeff, that's nice.
Number 4.
Oh,
There'll be all sorts of construction at the end of the street, the new house,
Just two signatures, Kathy?
Three, the two that I had marked and then the last packet that was handed to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had an extra arrow, I think.
We didn't sign it.
No error on this one, I'm assuming it's by signature.
We're not-
It is, yeah. That's the one I didn't have.
You realize now that you're.
Well, I
responsible for
might
that
have to get that seat.
dollar amount should.
Yeah.
Why would
I-
you-
Go ahead, take that word out here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a single page and I missed it.
There you go.
That was the one.
Joe, can you make copies for me?
So, the next is a developer agreement.
Sorry.
And I know we talked about this in the past, but I'm not sure you actually said, yes, let's do this. So in the past, the town has covered all the costs of establishing a TIF district and all of that entails. What this is suggesting is that the developer pays those costs and that he can be reimbursed from any TIF revenue if he chooses to do so. But this is different than the development agreement that we'll do to construct roads and water and sewer. This is for, I think, isn't it, Alex? Am I investigating annexation? We have an annexation. Anything that has to do with a TIF incentive, yes.
Correct.
So we get Baker Tilly involved, we get Alex involved with all these TIF incentives. They ought to be paying for it. So that's what this does. And then when we create the project with a reimbursement agreement, then these costs can be included in that for the infrastructure costs.
And that's typically the bond, right?
Well,
Well, like they build it, we pay back
right.
75% or something
So,
like that, or.
These guys do not want to do a bond. And no matter how much Craig DeVault and everybody else has pushed back, there is a way. It'll be a town project. They'll front the money. They'll deposit the money with us. We do the project as a public project. And using their money. And then the agreement is that whatever we decide, 80% of the new TIF increment goes to pay back that money that they loaned us. So as long as it's a public works project, we can do it that way.
Not necessarily heavy property to talk about.
Yes. So they wanted, to me, it just seems cleaner to do the bond. It's the same difference. It's the same money, except,
Basically.
yeah,
This is the old way we used to do it though, right?
well, sort of. You didn't do it as a public works project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the only difference.
We did
It's
as
the
a-
same way
as
to
a-
get out
a-
there.
private agreement,
Yeah.
That sounds right.
in a
Yeah,
roundabout way.
it'd been a little before my time, but,
Right,
but yeah, that's my recollection.
And you were mixing private construction with public construction. so
Yes.
Somebody had to split that out.
yes.
Um, but closer to the old way.
Okay,
They are saving some money. There's some money by creating a bond, and there's bond fees and. So it's what they want to do, and as long as it's legal,
okay.
or mostly legal. We'll see. I'm not sure it's legal. So, I just asked approval for that. This is like a new policy for us, so you adopt this policy.
Okay,
To Mike's point of what's being considered here isn't an adoption of this agreement as you see before. It's the form of this agreement to be
Okay.
negotiated. The concept being that there's substantial costs that go into the creation of these incentives. And there have been occasions where the town has invested that money in the process. The project falls apart and the town's holding the bag.
right.
And this seeks to eliminate that, and have the developer have some skin in the early part of the game.
Okay.
like under,
Lowe's been doing this. lately.
under paragraph
Lowe's
seven,
been doing that.
the, termination basically says that.
Pete Leatherman in Whiteman, yeah, Jay.
Pete Leatherman.
Yeah, um,
Yeah, the number 7 basically says that if they want, they can terminate it at any time, but they're gonna pay us back.
that's right,
Right, yeah.
that's right.
So do you need a motion on this one then?
I'd like that. That way I can say this is the town's policy now.
Okay.
And this is the forum.
Okay. So is there a motion to move forward with the reimbursement agreement?
I'm making a motion to go forward with it.
Okay. Motion by Dean,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, like vote, Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Rick DeHolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
Can I have your signature, Jeff?
So they're not back yet with the information, but we do have. Kathy and I are merging our menus tonight. Our agendas. I do need a bit more money for some of our paving projects. So the additional appropriation, if you want to go to that when you get a chance there, Jeff, explains which funds.
Okay, we're gonna jump over to item J, the appropriation.
So we've got some monies left to spend in unrestricted and the TIF South. The TIF South, I'm concerned, but we've still got money to do these projects. The water main project was an unexpected thing for us.
That's what, Indiana.
Yeah.
Yes, and so I have, as part of this planning process, I've set aside $300,000 for a new water main under the project we're bidding tonight on the street, St. Joe back here, right, or Elkhart.
St. Joe and Elkhart.
Yes,
St. Joe's the one they're worried about the water.
so these are, this is us learning. We went so long without paving. When we started paving, we didn't think about the infrastructure under the streets. Now that we're doing all this, we're thinking about that. So every project going forward, we'll be doing a utility assessment on what's underneath. So we're okay, we can fund everything, we'll upgrade the water main, but it does impact going forward. We're taxing the town
Well,
cells.
Only if we did full restoration, full depth,
Right,
just to
And-
mill and fill.
probably not, yes, although it depends on how old that structure is. Tim was telling me this morning, he said if we're gonna attack a street, and we've got an old 4-inch main, we'd be best to tear it up and replace it with an 8, because we're not going lower than 8 on our
It's
bases.
good because I think the biggest we had in town was a 12.
Yeah. But for these projects, so that's the reason for the additional appropriation.
And just to note, those appropriation numbers on there are not correct. Because this is related specifically to CCMG, I'll create a specific line item for that so we can track the funds that are being used.
You dare use restricted MVH, or is that strictly asphalt?
Yeah, so I'm shifting money around, that will be used for asphalt, and some of the monies I had for asphalt are getting shifted into water.
Okay, so it's restricted, you are using.
Oh, unrestricted, yeah, I kind of like to use pavement and MVH, and so we had some edit money we were pulling in, and
I thought restricted was only paving, but.
restricted is only paving, this is unrestricted.
Oh, right. That's what I didn't
But
think we.
still, I'd
used
like to
restricted or
keep
not,
those
but-
for paving. In my own mind, I've had some discussion with her office about being more trying to find a fund instead of spreading it across 3 different funds. But, I find money where I can. And, so that's the reason for the request.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the additional appropriation of $260,000?
And this will be approval on first
first
reading
reading.
with permission to publish.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
You're looking at me.
For an additional appropriation, we're not, what's before the council at this point isn't the ordinance itself, it's merely the notice to issue.
correct.
So if anything, it's putting the council on notice that there will be an additional appropriation, then there will be a of notice that's provided.
It's not-
Meaning 2 more readings, because this is how we've been doing it.
Well, I mean, we've been doing it where, I mean, we still need the 10-day notice before it can be adopted.
Correct.
So, if this is the text of the ordinance, then yeah, then it would be, we could consider this the first reading. With notice to be issued, and then on its terms, it'll be heard for a second reading on the 1st of August for adoption. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my game plan.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Kathy's right. It's good to go.
Okay,
So I'd say, advanced second reading and approved notice to taxpayers.
there a motion to approve notice to taxpayers and advance the second reading for the additional appropriation of $260,000.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Doug, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Rick DeHolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
They need faster calculators.
Okay, well,
Oh, smelling smokes.
while we're doing that, we'll go on to item K that was added, which is approval of the invoices that Jill sent out. Had a chance to review the invoices.
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to approve those invoices?
I'll make a motion to approve the invoices.
Okay, motion by Doug,
Second that.
second by Dean, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Rick DeHolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
I have filler material, filler material.
That same as BS.
Yeah, no,
Actually, while we're waiting, Jill, can you print copies of it, please? Yeah. We were approved, so thank you.
Just you. But that one.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not even close, but like, I gotta make sure it's all apple for apple, make sure Chad got his pencil right. Well, now I'm Dean.
Thank you.
Reading earlier.
Can you ever make a
I got
decision
a-
about
I
finding a
got
street
a
sweeping
question, I
company?
guess.
about what?
Street sweeping
Water and
company?
sewer's totally separate,
talk
they're
about
their own
that later.
entities per se, right?
Yes.
So
The past there.
every time we do a road, we probably
What?
we get reimbursed
Good question.
from water and sewer, because we're replacing their pipes.
So he may be.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
No, that's a
like
good question.
they're a separate entity, but yet we're paying for
Yeah,
it. Other departments are paying for it.
so that'd be a question for Michael.
What's that?
My question is that water and sewers are a separate entity. They fund themselves per se through their water bills and sewer bills. So every time now we're replacing with MVH funds, we're replacing water mains. Why shouldn't they have to reimburse MVH for water main because they didn't pay a dime to fix
Well, right now, because they can't afford. I mean, the money's just not there.
it? But I just, you see what I'm getting at, though, technically, they should be
If we
paying.
had a capital, if the town had initiated a capital improvement fund, then you'd have the monies to do this. So instead, you have to use monies like at it and others.
But I mean, technically, they should be paying.
Technically, they should. Mine. So you will have that in the future. After you give yourselves a couple of years to build that fund up.
I was gonna
We
say,
created,
the bond and everything, it should be,
it's there now.
with the rate increases, we should be generating some funds to cover it like we should have been doing
We created,
4 years ago.
we created a capital improvement fund for both wastewater and water. So you've got that in the future.
Good.
So,
Cause we know that, and none of them gonna get any younger.
No.
Rooms,
no,
it's that old transite that you sneeze wrong and I think Ron just drove by one on Indiana and it leaks. Looks like they're getting close. They're almost clear to the west end. It looked like today when I drove by there, it looked like they were down past the school drives.
So, you mentioned Gulfview briefly, and I had word from one of the residents there that the county code enforcement guys did get inside and have apparently written some fine citations for electrical and plumbing code violations.
Really?
So we did make a bit of a difference with those folks.
It's good.
But our new housing residential that's coming to Bristol is primarily going to be apartments. And that seems to be where the market's at right now. It's not about home ownership, it's rentals. And I know that I'm concerned about not getting another Gulfview, and I know you guys are concerned about that. So the way to get around that is to create an apartment code, something that you guys can actually enforce apartment. It'd be like City of Elkhart, City of Goshen has. So I think, because Alex doesn't have enough to do, we're probably going to be taking a look at something like that.
And actually make it so there's no section 8 allowed.
No,
No, we can't do
Probably
that.
did
Cannot
that.
do that. We might be able to, well, I don't know. Talk about that on our zoning overlay. I'm
I
a
know
little
the
cautious about,
apartments at 4 and Johnson Street, when they went section 8, it meant we were running there constantly.
there are some overarching, Fair Housing Act concerns, when it comes to legislating Section 8 housing and any sort of subsidized housing that, as a threshold matter, the town would need to be, I'm not sure if it's advisable for the town to get into that process.
I just was curious, because that seems when they start going downhill, nothing against section 8 people.
Sure.
But it draws others in and it just, I mean, we had people barbecuing in the back.
To that point, that there could be enforcement mechanisms through an ordinance that would apply to, those are rental situations, right? Those aren't ownership situations. And so, there can be, if the will exists, there can be hammers to swing against landlords that permit that type of conduct. As opposed to tenants, as opposed to punishing tenants, punishing the landlord as the landowner would be responsible.
there's just, right now, Needham County has no leverage on the owners. No, black mold in that house is not a health concern.
Really?
County Health Department would not do anything with black mold. They said that can be cleaned up. So they're not willing to issue a citation on black mold. In fact, it has to be really, really serious. Part of the overriding concern is if they deem that uninhabitable, then you've got a lot of people with nowhere to live. So where they're living is better than no. So it gets to be a really, really difficult situation without some sort of enforcement capability. County doesn't have it, but the town can have it. So that was a recommendation from the county health department. We look at some sort of ordinance that will allow us to start enforcing, especially if we're gonna have more apartments coming in. So we'll be fine for, like Gulfview was fine initially. If you look further down the road, I think you want some sort of enforcement.
Yeah.
And this is paid for with an apartment, can be paid for with an apartment fee of some sort as well. So anyways, that's,
Because that apartment started out nice. When it was River Shores, it was nice apartments. It just slowly went downhill.
It's the owner's
You ready?
responsibility.
Yeah, Brian,
Okay.
actually, I did it in the signature sheets. But but JPR recommends the council award the contract for CCMG 2024-1 to Niblock Excavating.
Okay. There's a recommendation to award CCMG Project 1 to Niblock. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for that.
Okay, motion by Dean,
I'll second.
second by Greg. Open for discussion. No further discussion. We'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carried.
Perfect. And you might have heard that we probably will have a water project. So we'll be looking for an amendment. Any chance you get it done yet this fall? One. Sure. You know, you're not keen on having that street closed when 120 is closed next year. Just saying.
The only thing that sucks is
What street,
both
when?
less roads.
And what's,
I know, but
St. Joe both.
it'll force them all down to Bloomingdale. So
That's good.
maybe that's a good thing.
what street and when?
We're planning on getting St. Joe College.
Pick a line.
Go on. And
Piece of paper under it.
that- Some doctor wrote that
Put a
first
piece of
one.
paper under it. Put a piece of paper under it.
Oh, yeah.
Down by the old LC Conroe building that way.
Okay. Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
All right, that's,
Did he say they were gonna try and have a Powell done this year?
yeah.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, cause there ain't much there to tear up.
It's like an afternoon. work.
Pretty thin.
You know, you should have just come in and said, we recommend seeing. Yes, to see.
That would have made everybody's teeth drop.
Just pass it to them. Yes, I can that way.
If you could sign this, that'd be great. I can do that.
He's been signing everything tonight anyway. Just remember.
He's on the hook for a couple million anyway, so good to go.
You're right. Awesome, thank you. Yep. Yes. 5, 6, and 7. Okay. Anything else?
What's the kind of thing? Yes, thank you.
Alex, anything?
Nothing this evening.
Nothing in new business, council, Doug, anything?
Nope.
Dean?
Nope.
Kathy?
No.
Greg?
No.
Okay. Next meeting, work session on July 15th, council meeting the 18th,
Coming this weekend.
homecoming this weekend.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I'll second that
second by Doug, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.